The White House is listed on Zillow. It's off-market, but the Z estimate is $465,948,700. It has 16 bedrooms, 35 bathrooms, and is 55,000 square feet. Its rent estimate is $1,663,119. I wonder if our politicians are on Zillow with their price for rent. In the 19th century, Duc d'Autefray Pasquier said, "Empires fall, ministries pass away, but bureaus remain." This kind of goes with what Milton Friedman said, that nothing is so permanent as a temporary government program. Americans are being taxed into poverty to pay for a growing administrative state, though the media has been far more inclined to whip up frenzy around the recent Supreme Court decision on Roe v. Wade. A much more far-reaching ruling came down regarding the EPA. According to the Epoch Times, the flurry of rulings from the Supreme Court has everyone's head spinning. The most significant among them, even if it doesn't capture all the headlines, is West Virginia versus EPA. The majority opinion is impressive, but the part I found truly wonderful is the concurring opinion by Neil Gorsuch. This is where we see things headed, toward a major and much welcomed curbing of the power of the administrative state. I did a recent video covering the birth of the administrative state in America, and how it was rooted in a plan put forth by billionaire financier Bernard Baruch. When the financial class, led by Bernard Baruch, approached Herbert Hoover with what would later be called the New Deal, Hoover was mortified. Baruch was the architect of a plan to radically change the nature of government and expand the bureaucracy. He wanted to create 75 new agencies to control 75 aspects of the economy. For instance, he wanted a Department of Agriculture to control food, a department called NIST to control the field of engineering, a Department of Energy to control oil, etc. You get the point. 75 new departments to control every aspect of the economy, whereupon Herbert Hoover pointed out that these reforms were what Mussolini had done in Italy. Baruch was fully aware of this, since he had financed Mussolini. Hoover said, "The Constitution grants me no such power to control the economy. What you're describing is Mussolini's fascism." In his autobiography, Hoover wrote, "I tried to show him that this stuff was pure fascism, that it was merely a remaking of Mussolini's corporate state, and refused to agree to any of it. He informed me that in view of my attitude, the business world would support Roosevelt with money and influence. That, for the most part, proved true." As the Epoch Times goes on to point out, the administrative state has bloated well beyond Bernard Baruch's original 75 agencies. There are some 432 of these agencies. The authors of the Declaration of Independence noted their existence back in the day when they accused the English king of having erected a multitude of new offices and sent hither swarms of officers to harass our people and eat out their substance. They fought a revolution to end the tyranny, but now we have a homegrown form. Starting in 1883 with the Pendleton Act and continuing throughout the 20th century as each new administration creates its own bureaucracy. The thing has taken on a power of its own. Strangely, the topic hardly comes up at all during elections, and this is for a reason. Politicians running for office like to advertise their power to make change. They might even believe it. In reality, elected officials have very little influence over the conduct of public life relative to the administrative state. As Trump found out, not even the president is a match for the deep state. Long story short, this new ruling from the Supreme Court curtailing the EPA's ability to write its own laws and impose them on the people in an extra-legal way opens the door for future legal challenges for all these other unconstitutional government agencies. With all the other bad news happening, it's good to get a little good news once in a while. And this is it. Does it ever feel like you're not getting the full story from the media? Like there are dark and powerful forces behind the scenes manipulating world events? You're right on both accounts. To get the full story, every time, check out Behind the Deep State, hosted by Alex Newman from The New American.